Let me ask you a question. Are you big boned or are you addicted to food? I think this is important because oftentimes I hear this phrase, I'm just big boned. I'm from the Midwest. I just enjoy food. I just have a big appetite. And so the question is that true? Today we're going to be talking about that and specifically why I believe that the struggles you have with nutrition go beyond an appetite, go beyond being big bone, go beyond being from the Midwest, and have more to do with your brain. This is the approach of the Empty Your Bucket Nutrition Plan, and where we seek not just to talk about dynamics, meaning eat this, don't eat that. Of course, we give people plenty of direction from that perspective, but we don't believe that that is where people are challenged. We truly believe that the challenge lies in the idea that most of us, to some extent, are addicted to food, and that's why we haven't been able to make it a sustainable lifestyle. I think it's important to define addiction in the most practical terms, okay? Addiction is a compulsive behavior that seeks to alleviate a need, okay? It's a compulsive behavior that seeks to alleviate a need. And so I think that leads us to that chemical called dopamine. I believe most Americans and most of the world are addicted to secreting this chemical called dopamine. It's a neuroreceptor that's in charge of that feel good, of that feeling of well-being, right? And we're addicted to our phones, and we're addicted to food, and we're addicted to basically anything that alleviates the tension, the friction of life, right? The many pangs of life. And so the most accessible thing now is a phone. Looking at likes, looking at posts, looking at social media, and trying to secrete dopamine consistently has brought our set point of dopamine to a point in where we feel like nothing is exciting anymore, right? We're constantly looking for those jolts. And one of the fastest and easiest ways to do that is through food. That's right. It is the innocent drug. It is the thing that most people justify and say, well, I have to eat, right? And how else do I stay alive? I can't just go without eating. I have to eat. The problem is that we are eating to the point in where that food is becoming as dangerous as any other drug, any other cigarette or alcohol is one of the many things that we think about. And so we don't think about food in terms of an addiction, but it's probably one of the most addicting mechanisms out there. I want to tell you a story that really illustrates a point here. And recently, one of my clients who has been doing amazing inside of the program, she's 50 something days into the program, she sent me a before and after picture, and she was through the roof excited. She said, JT, I feel amazing. I'm fitting in my clothes that I haven't been able to fit in the last 5 years. And I feel incredible. She says, I'm sleeping better, I'm breathing better, I'm doing better at work, I have more confidence, I wake up on purpose, and I feel like I can channel all of my energy to the things that I deem important in life. She said, I feel amazing. Here's my before and after. So I saw the before and after, and I was like, wow, radical difference, right? You could see her face. She looked like she basically backtracked 15, 20 years. She looked 15, 20 years younger. And she looked happy, right? She had this smile, she was vibrant. A couple of days after that, I get a text from her, and she's in an absolute frenzy. And she says, JT, and I'm pretty sure she put her head down when she said JT, she said, I cannot believe what happened. And I said, what's going on? And she said, I actually decided to celebrate my victory with a tablespoon of peanut butter. And what happened after that was the craziest thing ever. I said, what happened? She says, I took out the entire pantry. I said, what do you mean? She said, oh yeah, cookies and cake and ice cream came the rest of the day, and I felt completely out of control. And I'm super, super scared because I'm wondering if this is gonna be the case forever, right? I thought I had overcome that situation. I had lost all this weight. I was 50 days into the program, no temptations, no mishaps, and all of a sudden, one little mishap and I just completely fell off. And one of the things that we talk to our clients often is that there's a difference between relapse, right? Or when people relapse, they relapse because most of them are in sobriety, right? Sobriety is very different than recovery. Sobriety is when you are actually disciplining yourself and exerting a ton of energy in order to make things happen, because that is not automatic. That is not a habit that you have ingrained yet in you. It's not something that is part of you yet, right? And so you're in sobriety, so you have to be on your toes. What she did was she was in sobriety, she took that tablespoon of peanut butter, and guess what? She reminded her brain of her dependency. Those dependencies came back without skipping a beat, and she went down that route for 2-3 days until she finally snapped out of it. And she said, how do I get out of this particular situation? And I said, we have to go back into abstinence. And she said, well, I feel this urge for sugar. Now I'm craving sugar left and right. I said, you have to go into abstinence. So because she does well with fasting, we put her through a fasting protocol of 16 hours, and where she wasn't spiking any insulin, but more importantly, that dopamine set point, which was set super high, it was probably at a 10, and the scale from 0 to 10, it was at a 10. We needed to bring that back down to a 6 or a 4 so that those urges could go away. So as you can see, the vast majority of nutrition coaches, plans would tell you, oh, you have to recommit to the plan. And this is why most people struggle, because it's not a commitment issue to a particular demand of dynamics, but instead it's really understanding the functions of the brain and how your brain actually is receptive to certain things. And so she went into abstinence, and sure enough, as soon as she came out of that fast, because she was in abstinence, she felt back in control. Her craving slowly but surely started to subside. She's now back to losing weight. She's in a deficit again. She doesn't have any cravings. And she was so disappointed. She said, I just feel so disappointed in myself. She said, I can't believe I let myself down like that. And one of the things I said to her, I said, this is probably one of the best things that has happened to you, because you have actually understood what you're working with. You know what the problem is. You can see it now. You understand that you're still in that place of not necessarily recovery, but you're still in sobriety. So then she asked the question. She said, well, what is recovery? And recovery is a great place to be, right? Recovery is when you tip the scales. Recovery comes as a byproduct of abstinence, yes, but as a byproduct of the pain of not changing being greater than the change of just staying where you are, right? You start to really ask yourself those P&L questions, those profit and loss questions, and where you say, is this thing that I'm doing now, is this momentary feeling better than the feeling of feeling my insulin level stabled out, my emotions stabled out, breathing better, feeling better, not having the temptations, leaning out? Or do I just want 5 or 10 or 15 seconds of joy to throw all these other things off? So you have to tip the scale, but it all happens when you do abstinence well for a while, and then that gives you a space, a room to start to consider how great things are going. And if you stay in that momentum, if you stay on your toes and you realize that food is always something that we need to respect, and that we need to have guardrails, and we need to have parameters, and we need to have coaching for a while so that someone can walk us through this process. If we follow that sequentially, then we do amazing things. Radically change, and yo-yo dieting and all those issues you have had with food subside. They become a thing of the past, and you no longer have to worry about food, and you can enjoy food, because food is meant to be enjoyed. But you actually have to get out of this vicious circle, and it starts all in your brain. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. My name is JT Tapias with the Empty Your Bucket Nutrition Plan. If you enjoyed this video, I would love to see you in other videos that I put out here. If we're not family yet, you haven't subscribed, please do so. Leave a comment down below, and if you enjoyed this video, you're gonna absolutely love this video here. I'll talk to you guys soon. Ciao, ciao.